Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back. So we are currently on our fourth Master Mirror expansion batch that we're going to review. We're on to the Syndicate cards now. There's a couple of Nilf cards left, but I guess they're waiting until the end because they're a bit spicy, maybe. Let's hope. Anyway, we're on Syndicate, and we're going to start with the Syndicate Evolving card. So the Syndicate Evolving card is all about Jax de Alderberg. So we start with Jack's miraculous child. You might know him as Elvin. Jax de Alderberg himself, and then we've also got Jack's Grandmaster as the final form. So first of all, I really like the artwork of the miraculous child, because that's Gaunter's feet in the background, giving him the toys to sort of encourage him into like playing with war and soldiers and stuff, and that kind of encourages him to go up. So I really like that. A star for that one. So it's a 6 strength for 11. They're all 6 strength for 11. They all profit 4, and you've got tribute 4. Spawn 2 Firesworn Zealots on the road. They're the 2 strength units. Okay, and at the start of the round, while in hand or deck transforms. So this on its own is worth 10 points for 11. I did some slow maths there. So 10 points for 11. I would say this version is not that good. You definitely don't want to play this if you can help it. There's other ways to get Firesworn Zealots, and this gets a lot better as it goes along. So I wouldn't recommend playing this one. So the second stage, Jax de Alderberg, is still profit 4, tribute 4, but he spawns 2 Flaming Rose Footmen on the row, and has devotion at the start of the round, while in hand or deck transformed to the third variation. So the Flaming Rose Footman we can see here is actually a 3 strength, 1 armored unit. Okay, rather than the 2 strength. So it actually gives you an extra 2 points there because you spawn 2 of them. That makes him a 12 strength for 11, which is a lot better over the Jax de Alderberg, the first version. And these guys are a little somewhat protected as well. And then skip it over to the third and final variation. Still profit 4, still tribute 4, still spawn 2 Flaming Rose Footmen on the row. It has Veil, which is new and extra, so it's harder to remove. At 6 strength, there's only a couple of things that can deal with that, I think. Whenever you play a Firesworn card, boost South by 1. So this is very similar to the Usurper Emperor that we saw, where he would boost by agents. But there's a lot more Firesworn cards than there are agent cards. So I feel like this one is more valuable than Usurper Emperor. And you don't necessarily have to use the profit to spawn the Flaming Rose things if you don't want. I think this is a really good card. It's worth a lot of value. Now they're trying to push the Flaming Rose archetype with these footmen, which are obviously just better versions, and they did say that all the changes, they will change all the old cards to work on the new cards as well. So anything that buffs the Flaming Zealots will also buff the Flaming Rose Footman, which is good. I'm going to give it a 4 stars. It's a very powerful card. You get a lot of Zealots, they're quite strong, and it's got this even better version of the boost South by X when you play Firesworn, so that's really good. Now it's all about whether we're going to get the synergies, enough synergies that actually make it worthwhile. And so let's move on to the next card. So next up we've got the Cleric of the Flaming Rose. This is a 4 strength for 5 provision bronze, profit 2, tribute 2, spawn a Firesworn Zealot in this row. It's also got fee of 1, transform a Firesworn Zealot into a Flaming Rose Footman. So it goes from a 2 strength unit into a 3 strength unit with 1 armor. So first of all, I think it's pretty good. 4 strength for 5 provisions with 2 profit. That's kind of like a 6 for 5. And some profit is worth more than 1 point of strength usually, if you're saving up for things like Philippa and such. But you can get the Zealot if you want, or you can get the profit if you want, which I like. The fee is difficult to think it's that good. Like, we've got a lot of cards already that boost a unit by 1 for 1 coin, 1 coin to 1 boost. This is slightly different. You transform a Firesworn Zealot into a Footman, so it becomes, instead of a 2 strength, it's a 3 strength with 1 armor. So you are getting 1 strength and 1 armor. Not necessarily great, but I feel like in the future we are going to see cards which possibly boost Footman more than Zealots. So like boost the Zealot by 2. If it's a Footman, boost it by 4 instead. you know, extra value if you started to transform things into footmen. I think that'd be a very good avenue and would give more credence to his fee. He's a decent card. I do kind of like him, so I'll give him a. I mean, he's pretty much going to be an auto include in the Firesworn deck. I think that they're trying to build. I just don't see the need to transform them into footmen yet. So at the minute, I'm going to give him 3 stars. When we see other cards which come out with the footman synergy, then we'll bump him up. But for now, I'm going to give him 3. Next up, we've got the Fallen Knight. This is a 4 strength for 6 provisions, bronze for Syndicate. Veil, so it's got some defense. It's got Intimidate as well, so anytime you play a crime card, it will go up. Whenever you spawn a unit, boost out by 1 for each unit spawned. So this is actually quite a decent card in the fact that when you spawn a unit, it goes by 1, but also when it's a crime card, you go up by 1. So there are some crime cards which are also spawn units. So this guy can go up by 2 for there. So he's got like a double avenue of boost. So he could get quite high in boost. He has got the inherent veil, so it's very difficult to poison him. So he seems like he will stick around quite a bit if he manages to stick around. The negative, though, is that he's 4 strength for 6 provisions. So if they just do 4 damage to him, which is possible, it's not like 5 damage or like 6. 6 is hard. 4 is doable for sure. And that means you've wasted quite a few provisions there. If he sticks around, he's very good. Now, there are many ways you can help him stick around, you know, using Azar Javid defenders, using some sort of boost beforehand, like putting down something preemptively that can boost him, a leader charge that boosts him. So there are some ways to keep him like sort of trying to be alive. You can also use the I think they're the fire clerics or something, which are basically just 4 provision versions of this. They're a little weaker, but they still boost for every unit spawned. You can put them down first, get them to be removed, and then play the Fallen Knight. So I'm going to give this card a 4 stars because although it's weak, I think there will be ways to defend against it, and you know, it's got the self protection, so when it does start to move on, it will do quite well. It's pretty much an auto include when you start going for these Spiresworn type decks. We've already got like a 4 provision one, but this is a 6 provision one. It's just a lot more dangerous that you don't want to waste value on it, so you do need to try and protect it in some way. So next up, we've got the Mutants Maker. This is a 4 strength, 4 provision bronze. Deploy, destroy an allied unit, then gain 3 coins. If you have devotion, so no neutrals in your deck, gain 3 coins instead, so you don't have to destroy the allied unit. So, I mean, it's basically like a 7 for 4. Now, the ratio to coin to strength is not 1-to-1, so it could be considered like a 7-8 for 4. You know, if you can use those coins on something even more valuable like Philippa and stuff. But without devotion, you have to destroy an allied unit. Now, Syndicate, as far as I'm aware, don't have anything that you'd really want to destroy. They're not like monsters where Death Wish is coming in and all that kind of stuff. So that's a really weird ability and difficult to use. Now, you could use it on the Flying Redanian, hoard it, get the Redanian out, destroy it, it'll come out again, and it's basically like a free use. That's a difficult thing to do, but not completely out of left field. However, if you've got the Flying Redanian, then you don't really need the coins. You'd have to use the Flying Redanian, spend some coins, use this guy, get the horde again, and get the Flying Redanian. So it's a lot more trickier if you're trying to do that. If you don't have the devotion, but you can also use it as counterplay to like stop cow carcasses. That's really just a minor thing. You probably wouldn't take him just for that, but I think you're pretty much going to guarantee to have devotion if you take this card. Therefore, it's pretty decent. So I'm going to give this card 3 stars because I think it's not like Fireswarm archetype. It's just a unit that you need to have a devotion deck for. It's 4 strength for 3 coins. Do we have anything like that so far? There's quite a few cards that do things like that, but I think this is probably one of the higher statted ones. It doesn't do anything special in that case, but if you've got devotion, you don't get a choice whether to destroy your unit, so you can't use it as a bit of a counterplay and, you know, get the coins if you don't want to destroy a unit, it seems. So, yeah, we'll keep it at 3 stars. So next up, we've got Smuggle. This is a crime special card for 5 provisions. Profit 3, spawn a Flaming Rose Footman on the allied row. So This is 3 on a body and 3 in coins for 5 provisions. It works amazingly well with the Fallen Knight because he'll get the Intimidate because it's a crime card. He'll also get the +1 for spawning a unit on a row. That unit is slightly defended with the 1 armor as well, and you get 3 profits. So all around, pretty decent card. There's definitely some good things you can do with it because it is a crime card. So I definitely think this one is probably a 4-star for the for that particular archetype. So I'll call it a 4-star. It's a bit bland, but I think it will probably be quite important for that particular archetype. So lastly, we've got the golden special card for 10 provisions, Desiree. This is an echo card. So I believe it's been confirmed by CD Projekt Red now that it goes to the top of your deck at the start of the round before the mulligan. So you're guaranteed to draw it and it's not risky to Cantarella. Damage an enemy unit by 3 and boost all allied Firesworn units by 1. Death Blow, boost all allied units instead. So it's like a Bone Talisman with the condition to get all units, but I imagine most of your units will be Firesworn. This is for the Swarm archetype, which are getting a lot of value here, a lot of love. It's Echo, so you can use it twice in 2 different rounds though, so you have to swarm in 2 different rounds. You do the 3 damage too, which might be difficult to kill something. I mean, usually you'll be alright with 3 damage. So I think it's quite good. It means you don't have to pack in two Bone Talismans and you can get this. It's also a crime card, so it works well with the Fallen Knight. It's also a Firesworn card, which works well with Jax the Elderberg Final Form. Pretty much a lot of the cards that we've seen are either crime and Firesworn. The only one we haven't that isn't a Firesworn card is the Mutants Makers. So all the cards that I've listed today have benefit to Jax the Elderberg Grandmaster Final Form of the Evolving card. And loads of them are crime cards. So the whole crime Firesworn things do seem to be getting a lot of traction as well. So I would say this one probably an auto include for that particular archetype because it means that you can go Devotion because Bone Talisman wouldn't let you do that else. So I think it's probably a 4 stars because the Devotion now requires a higher sort of more stricter deck that we need this card. Because they introduced Devotion, we now have to have a Bone Talisman faction specific card. Maybe that's something we'll see a lot of, you know. Oh, Devotion's here now, so now we need a faction specific Lacerate, and we need a faction specific Bone Talisman, we need a faction specific Thunderbolt Potion, a faction specific. I don't know. So 4 stars for this one, and that is the end of this batch. Let me know if you disagree. I mean, again, we are gonna like edit all these once the whole set is out and you can see what they're really all about, but I think it's easy to see they're pushing the Firesworn archetype, and hopefully they will push it in interesting ways. I'm a little disappointed at how it's being pushed so far. Same as other things, really. You put down a card which has, you know, gain +1 when a Firesworn appears or when something like a crime card is played, and then you just swarm the board. I mean, that's the same as other decks, you know, in other factions. I would have really liked to see like a chain where you play a Firesworn Zealot and then you can use that Cleric guy to fee 1 to transform it into the next in the chain. So sort of like a Firesworn Zealot, and then you promote it to a Firesworn or Flaming Rose Footman, and then you can use another coin to promote it into a Firesworn Cleric, and then you can use another coin to put it into a Firesworn Inquisitor or something, you know, like a chain that goes up. And maybe there could be benefits to going tall on one or going wide, you know. Maybe you get a lot of benefits if you've got one final form, 1 third form, you know, 1 second form and 1 first form at least. If you have all forms on the board at the same time, it's worth more. That would have been quite interesting. Like, call it the promote aspect, you know, bring back the old promote thing where you're just promoting your Zealots into Footmen, into Clerics, into Inquisitors, into Grand Inquisitors, or I don't know. That would have been really cool to me. A different take on the whole promoting aspect. Although that does sound like it's very much a Northern Realms thing. But we'll see. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. I'll see you again very soon.